How can you not want to eat this pie when it looks this good? Chicken and mushroom pie. Let's get it made. The first thing we're going to do is get our ingredients. They're all below in the description, so check those out, pre-measure them. You're going to sift your flour into a large bowl, and once you've got that sifted in, we're going to get ourselves a pan on the hob, and we're going to melt together some lard, milk and water. Once that's emulsified and it's all joined just like this, we're going to add that to the flour and mix it well. Get your hands in there, get it kneaded together. Once it's combined, we'll add an egg and do the same, mix it together. You'll know it's ready when it starts to take all the muck off the side of the bowl, and we'll set that aside for half an hour. Okay, let's get our mushrooms in a dry pan. You want to slice your button mushrooms, we're going to toast them. That makes the umami flavour come out in the mushrooms, and then we're going to set them aside. Get your leftover chicken, give it a good chop. We want to keep it quite chunky into bite-sized pieces. If you've got skin, get your skin diced up and throw that in there as well. That adds a really nice salty texture and flavour to your pies, and I just love skin in my chicken pies. So get that all in, mixed together. Okay, get your leek and your onions. We're going to split them down, wash them and chop them. Not too fine, we want them, again, we want to feel the texture of the vegetables in the pie. So you want them to look something like this. Once you've done that, we're going to get our chicken fat from our roast chicken, and we're going to get that in a pan and get that warmed through. Add your vegetables into there, and we're just going to saute the vegetables here, seasoning as we go. We want the onions to be almost translucent, nice and soft, and cooked through thoroughly. Once you've done that, with the chicken fat, we're going to add in some thyme. You get that in the hot fat and you'll hear it crackling away. It just adds a really nice sort of background flavour to the flavour of the pie. Add in your flour, and we're going to make kind of a roux here using the flour and the chicken fat. It'll start to come together, keep stirring, and then once it starts to brown and get colour, that's all the flavour in there, you want to add your beer. I'm using a Golden Ale from Hobgoblin Beers here. It's a really nice beer. You could use a dark ale, you can use an IPA, whatever you really want to use, you can use. Mix that through. Once thoroughly mixed and there's no lumps, you can start adding some of your stock. I've used chicken stock. We just want to keep mixing, keep stirring. Don't add too much stock to begin with, because you can add if you've not got enough, but if you put too much in, you can't take it out. So we're going to add in our mushrooms again, give that a stir, then our chicken. And you can see here I'm adding more stock just to get it to a nice consistency. You want the gravy to kind of hold everything in situ, in place. You don't want it too thin. I'm then going in with some mature cheddar cheese. Again, this will thicken the sauce up, so mix that in, let it get melted through, and if you need to add a little bit more, add a little bit more. Use what you can see on the screen as a bit of a reference. Look at that, it's lovely, shiny, silky sauce. It's nice and thick. Okay, we're going to leave that to cool and go back to our pastry. Here you can see I'm just needing it a little bit more, get a little bit more of a smooth texture, and then we're going to start rolling this out. We want this to kind of the thickness of a pound coin, something like that. You don't want it too thick because you don't want the pastry to overpower the pie, but then you don't want it too thin because you don't want it to split and create holes in the pie. Once we do that, I'm using the pie tins to get the size of the base. I will give that another slight roll before it goes into the base, and also using the edge of the tin to work out how high I need the pastry to come up the side. So I'll start cutting those. I'm doing 2 here. There is enough for probably about 6 small pies or 2 large pies in this recipe and the ingredients that you've got, so change that as you need to. This is always good to do pies. You can freeze them, you can have them the next day. They're actually nicer the next day. It's entirely up to you. As you can see here now, I'm lining the tins with the pastry, and at any joins, all I need to do is wet my finger with some water and just kind of seal that in, and that will seal the pastry together on the 2 joining parts. And that also goes for if you do, whilst trying to stretch your pastry into the tin, create any holes, just get another little piece of pastry, put it in, wet your finger, and you are ready to go. Here you can see I'm using grease-proof paper. The reason here is I'm going to put some baking beans in, and we're going to blind bake these. Blind baking is basically where we put these in the oven for 20 minutes at about 170, 180 C, and that creates the casing for the pie. As you can see here, we'll take that out of the case, get rid of the greaseproof paper, and start putting our filling in. I like them really deep filled and almost overflowing, as you can see here, and then I'm going to top it with more mature cheddar, which is absolutely delightful. You go for the strength of cheese that you want. You could even skip the cheese here and put a pastry lid on. It's entirely up to you. And what you'll end up with is something that looks like this. I mean, look at it. It is so good. The cheese is melted, it's golden, you've got a nice bit of texture on the top where it's started to crisp up. The inside is really hot and drippy and just so Moorish. Served with a nice beer. I've got some of the Hobgoblin beer left over, so I'll be having a glass of this with my pie. But you cannot fault these. These are gonna please everybody that tries them, and it is a great way to use up your leftover chicken from a Sunday roast. Or if you don't do that and you just want to make these pies anyway, an easy way to do this is just to use skin on, bone in chicken thighs, pop them in the oven for about half an hour, let them cook, let the skin crisp up, let them cool, and then chop up the flesh off the thighs and use that meat. It is amazing. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, and please do share and check all the other social platforms. And I'll see you soon. Take care.